Joining us now for more on this story, live from Washington, is France 24's Guillaume Meyer. Guillaume, first off, what came out of the talks between Hu Jintao and Barack Obama today?
Well, that was maybe one of the most widely anticipated bilateral meeting that Barack Obama is having in Washington, that meeting with Hu Jintao of China. Of course, you know that the U.S. and China do not get along very well these days, especially since the Dalai Lama came to Washington, and that really angered the Chinese. It seems, however, that the relationship is getting a little bit better, and Barack Obama had that bilateral meeting with Hu Jintao, a very important meeting, of course, as the Americans are still trying to convince the Chinese to vote for the sanctions against Iran at the UN Security Council. The result of the talks so far is that the Chinese are saying once again that they agree with the Americans that they do not want to see Iran obtaining a nuclear weapon. However, the Chinese are not committing to the sanctions in any way. They're saying that they want to pursue further diplomacy. So it seems that Barack Obama still has some convincing to do if he wants the Chinese to actually vote for those sanctions. But the good news for the Americans is that it seems that talks and discussions between the Chinese and the Americans are happening again. And that's, of course, good news for diplomacy on the world stage.
And some good news as well. These talks have barely started. This nuclear summit has barely started, Guillaume, and the Obama administration has already scored some points with Ukraine.
Well, yes, Ukraine, in fact, still had some nuclear material, highly enriched uranium back from the Soviet times, back from the 1990s. And of course, the Americans are worried that some of that nuclear material could end up in the wrong hands. So what Ukraine did is basically they've announced that they want to get rid of that uranium, basically give it away to the Americans so they can take care of it, get rid of it. That's an important step because that's exactly what Barack Obama wants other countries around the world to do, to make sure that that nuclear material, that enriched uranium, doesn't end up in the wrong hands. Of course, announcing that at the very beginning of the summit is important for the Americans, as they hope that other countries will announce similar decisions in the coming days and maybe in the coming weeks. So a very important achievement already for that summit, and no doubt the Americans will try to explain that this is exactly what they want to see.
Thank you very much, Guillaume Meyer, joining us there live from Washington.